Hey everyone, Maxtortion here with another Legacy Challenge video. Tonight is June 29th, 2024, and I'm playing Legacy Eldrazi Aggro in the Saturday Night Legacy Challenge. I've been playing a bunch of blue decks, testing for the Legacy Showcase, which is that like 20-something player event that if you top 8 a Showcase Challenge, you qualify for. Because I ran Moon Stompy to a top 8 finish a few weeks ago. And between all the blue decks and obviously like blue-black Grief Scaminator, our favorite Legacy menace, I've been messing around with Eldrazi, and I've been surprised by how powerful it is. But I guess it shouldn't be a huge surprise, because this is a pile of MH3 cards as well as Thought-Knot Seer. So we've got, a soul land mana base that really only Legacy can give you with Ancient Tomb, 4 Ancient Tomb, 4 Eldrazi Temple, 1 City of Traders. It kind of just rounds out the soul lands. And then 3 Eye of Ugin, which is one of the best spells for Eldrazi, but of course it can't reduce. It reduces generic mana cost, but not colorless. So it that heralds the end costs 1 mana under Eye of Ugin. Fleshraker still also costs 1 mana under Eye of Ugin. Linebreaker costs colorless red under Eye of Ugin. So it's not as insane of a cost reducer as it is with like something that just has generic mana cost. Like if this were an Eldrazi Mimic with just like 2 generic symbols or 2 generic mana requirement, then it would be insane. But anyway, it's still quite good. And so this deck is just aggro. We're not even playing Chalices. I'm not even playing Vexing Bauble. Just you win by beaten down. Of course, you've got some Thought-Knot Seers to be a little bit disruptive. Kozilek's Command can also interact with combo decks. Like against Doomsday or Cephalid Breakfast, you can force them to draw a card on empty library. You can exile cards from graveyards against reanimator strategies. So Kozilek's Command does have text against combo, and Thought-Knot Seer. And Wasteland has text against combo in a pretty funny way. But so anyway, we're not like locked out. So the lack of lock pieces isn't as huge a deal as it would otherwise be. But really, yeah, we're just playing creatures and turning them sideways and dealing insane amounts of damage in a very short time. I've in testing had a lot of turn 3 lethals from damage, sometimes not even attacking if we're just like comboing off with Glaring Fleshraker. Anyway, I'm going to go through these cards real quick just because they're all MH3 and just to build familiarity with exactly what they do, because they have a lot of text on them. It that heralds the end is the 2 mana Eldrazi Lord that, in addition to giving all your other colorless creatures +1/+1, it discounts expensive spells. So like even Null Drifter, evoking it still would cost 1 less, so it would cost 1 in a blue instead of 2 in a blue. Kozilek's Command, you can cast it for X = 5 for less mana, so it's like a freebie there. And then moving on, Wastegate Battle Mage is a card that I thought was bad when I read it. It just like didn't read well to me, but it's been pretty strong when I've played against it. So then I tried it, and it is in fact good. There's a lot of artifacts and enchantments that are worth exiling in Legacy, as well as the bottom half, which is bouncing a creature an opponent controls. There's a lot of matchups that essentially become a race, like notably against like Delver or against like Psychic Frog or whatever. You just want to bounce those things back to hand. You don't want to take 7 or 8 from Murktide. You can just bounce it. And since this is a cast trigger, without Stifle, there's not even much they can do about it. They can't counter the cast trigger even if they counter the Battle Mage. So it's really good at winning races. This guy, Glaring Fleshraker, is a kind of like a just machine gun damage. Whenever you cast a colorless spell, you create an Eldrazi spawn, and that has Saga colorless mana. But then the other thing is whenever another colorless creature you control enters the battlefield, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. So if you cast a Eldrazi creature with this in play, you make a spawn that deals a damage, and then the creature enters the battlefield, deals a damage. So you've dealt 2 damage per creature. Now, say you have 2 Fleshrakers in play, and you've cast another creature. That means that when you cast that creature, you make 2 spawns. Each of these deals 2 damage. So you've dealt 4 damage now off those 2 spawns, and then the creature that enters deals another 2, so you've dealt now 6 damage off that herald. So it, just goes insane exponentially with how much damage this thing can deal. Also, it combos pretty crazy with Kozilek's command because you can make a bunch of spawn creatures and deal a bunch of damage that way. You can dig towards another Kozilek's command, just kind of combo off. Eldrazi Linebreaker is basically a reality smasher, which, if we all remember, costs 5 mana for a 5/5 trample haste. The joke being that it enters tapped and attacking. Linebreaker is the same way. It's a 3 mana on its own 4/3 haste, trample haste. But that's because on the beginning of combat on your turn, it gives target creature you control haste and plus X+0, where X is the number of Eldrazi you control. So on its own, it's a 4/3 haste. But also what it does is it effectively gives all your future Eldrazi haste, because you can target another one of your Eldrazi, the one that just entered, and just keep on turning things sideways to have absolutely insane damage output. Thought-Knot Seer is Thought-Knot Seer. It's the only non-MH3 threat in this deck because it's still that good. Just taking the card, exiling it so it's gone forever, and then, when it leaves the battlefield, they draw a card. We don't worry too much about that. Sowing Mycospawn is another card that I didn't think would be as good as it is, but the fact that it's an on-cast trigger and the land that you search for enters untapped makes it pretty crazy, because you can just get an untapped wasteland, waste them, and if you're casting it for 6 mana, which can be done pretty reliably, you can also exile target land. Again, that's not non-basic land, it's just land. So if your opponent's fetching basics to play around your wasteland, like say they have a basic and a non-basic in play, you get the wasteland to waste their non-basic land, and then you even just get rid of their basic land too, and they're just completely out of the game. Null Drifter is kind of in this consistency slot in the deck. I was playing Once Upon a Time, playing the Devourer from MH3, this guy, Devourer of Destiny. But I'm just trying Null Drifter in this slot because it adds a bunch of mana, or sorry, not add a bunch of mana, it draws a bunch of cards, draws 2 cards, and it can be cost reduced quite effectively. I have Ugin reduces the evoke cost to a single blue mana, so Courtyard, Cavern of Souls, Mox Diamond can all pay for that. And so that's not too hard to do. So anyway, big fan of that. And also the 7 mana comes up quite a bit, not that hard to do. If that heralds the end, discounts it. I have Ugin, discounts it. So, it can be cast. And then Kozilek's command, as we've talked about earlier, really rounds it out. It creates mana when you need it, draws cards when you need to, forces your opponent to draw a card when they have an empty library, provides some main deck graveyard hate, and creature removal. Over in the sideboard, we have a 4th Wastegate Battlemage for creature matchups, dismembers for like Magus of the Moon type things. Oh, our match just started, so we'll just jump right into round 1. We've got Mindbreak Traps and Leyline in the Void and Thorn of Amethyst for combo, Disruptor Flute for basically activated abilities we want to answer. Now we are against Shatin, who we play quite a bit. I believe they've played different decks recently. Let's see what they've played most recently. Magic Online's Decklist system has been out of commission. But yeah, I remember they were most recently on Eldrazi. So we'll see if this ends up being a round 1 Eldrazi mirror. Looks like they're taking a minute, so I can just touch on Disruptor Flute a little more. It's a good anti-combo card. It's a good anti-control card. Like, say they're leaning really heavily on Swords to Plowshares against you. You can just name Swords to Plowshares, and all of a sudden your creature is just going to come through. Name Force of Will to like act as a pseudo Cavern of Souls. There's a lot of valuable things you can do that aren't just like naming a combo piece. You can disable opposing Thespian stages, One Rings, so on and so forth. So yeah, really versatile card, quite good. Okay, looks like our opponent is AFK. I will wait until they are back. You don't have to. Okay, we are back for round 1. Opponent's on the play. This hand is a turn 1. It heralds the end. Turn 2 Linebreaker. Hopefully we draw a land by turn 3. Otherwise we can Kozilek's command to gain mana. Yeah, it's a keep. Our deck is roughly half mana sources, 27 lands and 3 Mox Diamonds. The Mox Diamonds will not net us mana here, they're really just accelerant. Confirmed on Eldrazi. Looks like we're both going to open on If That Heralds the End. Although they've got a Lotus Petal to join them. Oh, now I have Mox Diamond. Does this change what I do here? Because there's a world where I could, you know, Mox Diamond out the Secluded Courtyard and play my Linebreaker on turn 1 just to kind of put the pressure on, make them think they don't have time to wasteland. That might actually be what I want to do here. Just because that lets me stay the aggressor, and if they're tapping Ancient Tombs and stuff, I want to be on the offense, not the defense, because Ancient Tomb is free if you're not afraid of losing the game, but really, really costly if you are. So it's a little bit of a gamble, but I think that this is the right way to break serve in this matchup. As you notice, we are on the draw this game. But now, opponent's at 14, I'm at 20. And if we draw another land, all of a sudden these Kozilek's commands also go crazy. So we'll see where things end up. Yeah, they played another tomb. They're playing a petal. Hopefully this is not a 6 mana, whatchamacallit? The Myca Spawn, the one in our hand. It is. Yeah, well, we lose the land. Very tragic. They get a land, it enters untapped, which is also quite powerful. So they're getting a wasteland to kind of answer our next permanent source of mana. I'm really glad I went for this Mox Diamond play, because as you can see, this is not wastelandable. Okay, we found that, and that's quite good for us, because I can play It That Heralds here, and I could give it haste, which means that the Myca Spawn would have to trade against it, instead of just attacking with 6 here, and then like having the weaker creature. I think I'm going to do that, so I'm going to pump my It That Heralds. Now I could attack with both. This lets them choose which one to block, but it also puts them to 2 life if they don't block. That's a good question. Do I do that? Because, yeah, I think it makes it hard, because otherwise they just block and they're still at 10. This puts them to a guaranteed 6, which really limits their Ancient Tomb taps. I'm going to do this. I feel like my mana is really on the fritz, and this is a way that I can get through this. See, now they're at 6 life. They might not wasteland me now, given everything about the limitations of their hand. Okay, another Cavern of Souls. Or a Cavern of Souls, I should say. Another non-Ancient Tomb land. Now they're using their wasteland, so they feel pretty good about it. Yeah, they're not attacking, which means they're blocking. Which I'm going to do. I'm going to attack and force them to make this trade, because I think that my hand with this second one, it favors me to have an empty board and eventually draw lands. They only get 3 more taps of Ancient Tomb before they lose the game. So we're both effectively on 1 land, but they with asterisk here. They have to be really, they can use these, but they just have to be really careful about it. Okay, well now they have 2 mana sources that don't cause pain. I would love to draw a soul land. I really should have been more specific. I did the thing where if you say like, oh, I want to draw a land, you get to draw like the wasteland. I want to draw an Ancient Tomb or an Eldrazi Temple. That's what I want to do. Because right now, this only taps for color mana, so I can't cast It That Heralds because I need colorless. I can't cast Sowing Myca Spawn because I need 4 mana. This is not quite working out for me. I don't like the fact that they're casting a spell here. Oh, Fleshraker, okay. Yeah, I don't like that at all. This deals a ton of damage. Going to 2. Wow. Wastegate Battle Mage. Okay, so now they're destroying my Mox Diamond, which is really rude. And now they have a third mana source that doesn't deal damage. And again, Fleshraker dealt 2 to me. Thing does so much damage. Okay, I need to draw. If I draw an Eldrazi Temple, I am in it because I just play a pair of It That Heralds the End and go crazy. But we'll see. Chalice on 0 will prevent all of my future Mox Diamonds from being cast or from resolving, but not a big deal because I don't have any lands to pitch to them. Yeah, I just need Eldrazi Temple or City of Traders. A good card. Actually, something that, if our next couple draw steps line up correctly, could win me the game. That's not good for me. Or maybe it is, I don't know. I feel like they might be out of spells. So just drawing running lands at this point is fine for them to do. Eldrazi Temple. Oh no. Okay, I have one more turn to draw an Eldrazi Temple. They're drawing Eldrazi Temple. I want to draw that. I am not being specific enough. Again, I would like to draw it, not Shatin. Hey, there we go. I just had to ask for it exactly as worded correctly. So if I play a pair of It That Heralds the End, that better than Kozilek's command X equals 2. Let me think about that real quick, because X equals 2 gets rid of the Wastegate Battle Mage, but yeah, then Fleshraker still puts me to 1. I guess I could block, but I don't think that's worth it. I'll do that next turn if I need to. Right now I'm playing a pair of It That Heralds the Ends, because now I have 2 3/3 blockers. And now I would like to draw a Cavern of Souls, since I get to pick. I have Ugin does not help my opponent very much. They're at 6 mana that they can use. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because this is not an Eldrazi ability, it's just a land ability. Wastegate, does that help me at all? I don't think so, but I think I can do Kozilek's command with the Scry draw card mode. So target myself. X equals 2. So this actually like replaces itself as far as mana cost goes. And then I get to dig a card deeper. So it's another, it's a wasteland and another Kozilek's command. As we just established, the Kozilek's command is free. I'm looking for a colored source of mana. So I'm going to go bottom, top, draw it. Then I'm going to do this whole thing again. Kozilek's command cast. I'll create 2 Eldrazi spawn and I'll scry 2 draw a card. I'm looking for red mana for this line breaker. Crocus Wasteland. Those are not red. Ancient Tomb. Okay, that might be relevant for creating a ton of damage output out of nowhere. You know, I think I'm going to do it because I can dig way, way deeper with this Kozilek's command. I don't think my opponent can deal me 1 at instant speed. No, then I won't be able to play a red source. Ah, I almost tricked myself. Okay, so we cast this with target player creates the things. Almost fooled myself there. Done. There it is. So bottom, top. Then we play this. We name Eldrazi. Then I'm going to go red, colorless. Play a line breaker. I will sacrifice this one for a colorless, just because it makes another lord. And now I can go to combat, target my line breaker, and attack with a 10-6 trample haste. I'd like to see Reality Smasher do that. Stole game 1. Fantastic. Broke serve. Okay, so in this matchup, what's not that good? Well, Dismember is good because it's good at killing the creatures you gotta kill. Null Drifter is really good, but just a little bit slow. I think since I'm on the draw again, this is going to be the card I cut. I think the bounce spells are good. Obviously, the rest of the stuff is good. I'm really proud of myself for winning that first game. Oh, maybe I want a Wastegate Battle Mage as well, so I think I'm going to cut a Sowing Microspawn to do that. This card is quite good when ahead because it just like turns the screws on like a double Wasteland play. But it's like fine when behind, but not incredible. Finds you more lands. Maybe, you know, I've convinced myself to cut the Microspawns on the draw and keep Null Drifters as just kind of a more powerful play. The Annihilator is obviously solid if there's not like a ton of science to sacrifice. As a flying creature, it's also good at just like getting through. Yeah, let's try it. We'll see if I bamboozle myself. Okay, so this hand is quite good on mana, and it's got Thought-Knot Seers, and it's got a turn 1 play, turn 2 play, turn 3 play. We keep Devourer of Destiny in my opponent's opener. So one of the things that I'm not super high on for this card is that it reveals to your opponent that you're on Eldrazi. So say you're on the draw and you reveal this thing, they know that you're on this deck, so they know not to Chalice on 1. They know that if they're playing like a turn 1 kill deck that loses to a Force of Will, they're not in trouble with like you can't force them. So I don't love it, but a lot of people like it a lot, so I could be the one that is wrong. Kozilek's Command, as we've established, is a incredible and versatile card, and I'm happy that it's in my hand. 3 mana. They can wasteland me? That'd be an interesting play. I mean, it wouldn't be too bad for me. The way that City of Traders works is that you either want it to be the first land you play or the second one. Oh, Fleshraker. Okay. But anyway, back to City of Traders. First land you play or the last one. Because at the first land you play, you know, you're just trying to get maximum value out of it, like you're super land light and just it's like tapping an Ancient Tomb forever without taking damage. Or as the last land you play, where you've played out all your other lands and then you're at that point hopefully not going to play another land after City, and you can just make a lot of mana painlessly. So fortunately, I drew this Eldrazi Temple. Otherwise, I was going to have to like figure out if I wanted to like scramble with a Kozilek's Command for the turn for 1 or something like that. But now I'm just going to go Thought-Knot Seer. And then next turn with 5 or 6 mana, I will exile that Fleshraker with my Kozilek's Command. So they have a Kozilek's Command, which, as we've already established, combos to Fleshraker. That's the card I'm taking. It is a little bit unfortunate that that means that they can Thought-Knot Seer me, but I'd rather them do that than the alternative. Now, I will trade an It That Heralds for a Fleshraker, because Fleshraker is the better card. My opponent knows that, and so they did not block. Yeah, we know Devourer of Destiny, Wasteland, Thought-Knot Seer. So they could double waste us this turn. They shouldn't, but they could. If they start doing that sort of aggressive Wasteland back and forth plan, then what I will do is Wasteland them back and use my better board presence to try to win. One thing to note, Devourer of Destiny, when you cast a spell, exile target permanent that's 1 or more colors. I don't have any of those in this deck, so that's flavor text in the Eldrazi Mirror. Confirmed that opponent is doing Thought-Knot Seer stuff, and I'm going to take one of my 2 cards, and then maybe double Wasteland me. Remains to be seen. They double wasteland me, I'm wastelanding them. So that's a choice for them to make. And a risk for them to take. And a flesh for them to rake. I'm on a roll here. One thing to note about combat is obviously the Thought-Knot Seer wins blocking, but if I attack into this board, they would just double block me with the Thought-Knot and Flesh Raker, and we would trade Thought-Knot Seers. So that's only a play I want to make if I want to trade Thought-Knot Seers, my 5/5 into their 4/4. And I'm not sure I want to do that. They played the Wasteland, and now they're trying to figure out whether they're going to destroy my stuff. I genuinely don't know if they're supposed to. I know that they're either supposed to do both or none, because doing both means that I can't cast this Thought-Knot Seer. Oh, they have another choice. That heralds the end. I didn't see that coming. But anyway, doing them both means I can't cast the Thought-Knot Seer. Doing one means I could still play the city and cast Thought-Knot Seer, and since they have perfect info, they definitely shouldn't make that play. So at this point, I can start deciding what to do with my mana. Start with the Thought-Knot Seer. It's just the Devourer of Destiny. It's out of here. Now I can wasteland a wasteland to like try to protect my lands, which is I think what I want to do, since they're just like more restricted on, or they're less restricted on mana. So if I wasteland their wasteland, it's generally a play you wouldn't want to make when you're behind on land, but these are soul lands. And so wasting a wasteland here essentially converts that wasteland into a soul land in this like kind of forced play scenario. So I'm going to hang back because for the most part I win blocking. They do have a 5/5 Thought-Knot Seer to match mine now, which I don't love. Okay, so we're doing this back and forth play thing. I'm at 9 life, so I do have to block pretty aggressively if the game gets to that point. Okay. So in case they have a way to remove one of my Thought-Knot Seers, I'm going to double block. Okay, I drew another wasteland. Don't love that part. Dismember, okay. Now this I can get behind. So now what I can do is I can attack with Thought-Knot Seer and see if they line up some sort of block that would win with all this pump. Like if they block with the 3/3 and the 1/2 and the 1/2, Thought-Knot Seer would die and they would essentially trade a Fleshraker and a Scion for the Thought-Knot, and they get a card. So they might want to do something like that, at which point I can completely blow them out by killing the heralds the end with this Dismember. So that ends up being what's happening here. This is going to be really good for me. So I do that, I pay this, and maybe I pay 6 here, so I can wasteland as well. Like, do I tap Ancient Tomb and go to 3, or do I don't think so. I think I just tap the wasteland and go to 5. So I kill the heralds by going colorless life, ouch. And now I completely mop up this combat step. And it's off to my opponent. We'll see if I regret leaving them with land. Looks like I don't regret it. And a Fleshraker of my own. Okay, so I'm not dead to a line breaker, so I'm not going to worry too much about that. I think I just go city. Fleshraker, and I'm playing the city at this point so that I don't take damage. I have my opponent on a 2-turn clock. Dealing 7 now. And we might have broken serve twice in the Eldrazi mirror. I really like how my deck is constructed, so I'm not going to speak too soon. Obviously, you know, opponent has ways around it, but we'll see. Okay, they don't have any ways around it. They played out a Yavimaya for no reason. I think they're conceding in... Okay, no, they weren't playing this as like a strategic blocker. They were just kind of showing me the rest of their hand as a way to say, here's what I had at this point. Yeah, this wasn't like a strategy from them. Cool. But yeah, we broke serve twice in the Eldrazi mirror, and we got the match 2-0. I'll see you all for round 2. Hello, we are back for round 2. Our opponent is on the play and not quite at their computer yet. There they are. Okay, so let's look at this hand. This hand looks solid. It's got Fleshraker command. It's got uncounterable Eldrazi. It's got Linebreaker. What's not to love? We're keeping. One thing to note about this hand is that I probably don't want to lead on Eye of Ugin if I don't know what my opponent's playing, because if I do Eye of Ugin and need to cast Fleshraker, I cannot make it uncounterable because I would need to use colorless produced by the Cavernous Souls, or like I guess the Waste or Temple or whatever. Meanwhile, if I play Temple first, I can play Cavern and still have this whole thing uncounterable. Now that said, this Wasteland might change that to where I'm not sure what they might be doing, like Wasteland cycle for Troll. And so I don't know if they're going to be Wastelanding me or not. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to play a Wasteland of my own. If they get it to their upkeep without, you know, cycling for a land, then I will just waste their waste. So there are Troll cycling here. Now the question becomes, do I waste the Wasteland anyway? Like limit them to one land. Oh, they got Basic Swamp. Basic Swamp to me implies that they have an island as well, and they're... Or maybe they just have an Underground Sea that's like a better Wasteland target. So either way, they didn't get Underground Sea. So they're playing Swamp now. Oh, Animate dead. Okay, so I guess that resolves. And I'm going to play a turn 2 Fleshraker and hope to try to combo off hard enough to combo this like Linebreaker and whatnot into a win. I'm just thinking real quick on whether or not I want to lead on a command this turn or a Fleshraker. I think I do Fleshraker this turn. And I think I do it with Temple so that I can play Eye for more efficient mana production next turn, because I think I can potentially multi-spell with Eye. So Temple is what I'm playing. Fleshraker, pray it doesn't get Force of Willed, and pass. This might be getting forced. I really hope it doesn't. Okay, it resolved. Love to see it. So, wasting the waste on the first turn, if I anticipated Animate Dead as the spell being cast and was trying to prevent that exact scenario from happening, wasting the waste would have been the move. My opponent still might not have blue mana for what it's worth. Nope, I'm wrong. This is bad for me. About as bad as it can get if this comes into play. Yeah, I think I just lose on the spot here. I cannot beat an Archon of Cruelty. So I'm going to concede the game to save time. The Archon does it. These Kozilek's commands would have been great, but just being on the draw there meant I was just a little bit too far behind. So I want the Wastegate Battle Mage. I want the Ley Lines of the Void. Now, I don't really think I want Null Drifter because I don't want them to like just like grief it and reanimate it. Because the Annihilator 1 is still hard to beat. I think outside of that, I don't need the full amount of it that heralds. And I think I'm keeping the full set of lands because they play a bunch of wastelands. I could do something like bring in Thorn or Disruptor Flute or Dismember. I don't think I'm going to. Also, I have Krakus in this list. A big part of that is to fight against stuff like Atraxa entering play. So let's hope we have a better run of this in game 2. No Leyline, kind of vulnerable hand to every sort of interaction. It's like vulnerable to daze, vulnerable to like grief discard. I think I'm gonna mull it. It doesn't feel, or I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna mull. Okay, this is better. It has got a Leyline. Feel better about it already. I think that I bin the Myco spawn, first of all, because I don't have green. The second, because the, Flesh Raker and Command combo. Command helps me dig with the temple, so on and so forth. So I'll keep this 6. Put Myco spawn on the bottom. And then open with Leyline of the Void. And then I will play an Eye of Ugin and pass. And I'm leading on Eye because it's the one I'd prefer to get wastelanded, since it can't actually produce colorless. It can only produce, it can reduce by 2 generic. Now, one thing to note, next turn, even if I want to play around days with this temple, if I were to tap it for CC, and I was trying to, like, counter with Fleshraker or whatever, or get Fleshraker paid through days, I wouldn't be able to use the second colorless of this. And so knowing that, I think I'm just going to jam Thought-Knot Seer in. Because even if this days happens, I'm setting them back on mana, and I'm okay with that. Okay, so it was a force, and that means it didn't matter which order or as far as playing around days goes, which order I sequence my spells in. Now they're pondering likely for a second land. Or they pitched to the force. They pitched a brainstorm to the force. So then maybe they're cantrip heavy and just digging for second land. So now I am thinking about the sequence of next turn. Not knowing my top draw, which obviously can change things. With the information I have now, Fleshraker into Battle Mage deals a point of damage, gets 2 bodies on the board, and also gets a Scion. So that the turn after I can command for a larger number. Otherwise, I can hold the Wastegate Battle Mage back until the point that like my opponent gets a threat in play and I have access to colored mana. Unfortunately, it looks like I am getting reanimated on my Thought-Knot Seer, which is better than a Null Drifter for what it's worth, but likely means that I'm losing my stuff. Probably Fleshraker is my guess. However, it's worth noting that with Wastegate Battle Mage, if I do now cast it with the kicker of 1 in a blue, I can bounce the Thought-Knot Seer back to my hand. Because it's owner's hand, opponent controls. So if I bounce the Thought-Knot Seer, it goes back to my hand. They did take the Fleshraker. And I drew the colorless, or the colored source to bounce the Thought-Knot. So I'm going to do that. Eldrazi. And then 1, 2, blue. And then I cast this with the blue kicker. Oh, yeah. This is one of those things where I don't actually need the colorless mana floating, but I may as well. There's no downside to it. So Thought-Knot Seer comes back to my hand. And I draw a card. Love it. That was really good for me. And since I only had 1 mana floating, I could not recast the Thought-Knot Seer, and I already made a land drop for turn. We'll see what opponent does now. I feel like they have a Brazen Borrower, but we'll see. Mecha Spawn is what I'm going to do. So I was going to Thought-Knot Seer, but instead I can double cast trigger to remove all of my opponent's stuff. Is that worth doing, or is it worth getting information prior to session? I'm in a great spot if I'm trying to figure out, like, if I Thought-Knot Seer for info here, whether, or to just prompt a concession. I think that maybe enough things can go wrong that I'm just going to not risk losing this. I know they're on blue-black Scaminator, so I may as well just double waste them here. So the trigger gets rid of the sewers, and then I'll get a wasteland to get rid of the underground sea. Yeah, petty theft on the ley line. So I am definitely making the right play by getting rid of all my opponent's stuff. Wasteland. I'm waiting for this to resolve so they can't daze me. Opponent conceded to the wasteland. Oh, you are removing all of my lands. Okay, so do I want to change anything on the draw? I don't think so. I don't think I want Null Drifters in to get reanimated. Like, say I evoke it, all of a sudden they reanimate it. That's really, really bad for me. There's an argument for potentially having Dismembers over at the Heralds to remove some of my opponent's stuff, like Psychic Frogs or whatever, but I think that they can, like, just discard enough creatures that it's too risky for me to do that. I'd rather... I have the full playset of Wastegate Battle Mages in, and I'll just try to leverage those for creature control. And I have Kozilek's Command as creature removal too. Okay, Leyline in the 7, so that's looking good. Fleshraker Command. Double Fleshraker Command, yeah. This is a good hand. Of note, Cavern of Souls is my only source that can produce colorless, but got my forest here. I'll keep. I also have a waste in the deck for what it's worth, but keeping 7. Leyline in play. So at least I don't have to get Entomb reanimated just yet. So in order to play a Fleshraker on turn 2, I have to either play the Cavern or Eye on turn 1. And I think since this is my only source of colorless, I think the Eye is more expendable. So I'm going to likely lead on Eye of Ugin. Opponent took the Kozilek's Command, which probably just means that that's the card that they know if I have either Fleshraker in play they can't beat, so they took the unique effect. Makes sense to me. Hit that Herald's the end. Does not change how I sequence any of this. In fact, it makes my colorless source even more valuable, because if I get Wastelanded here, the next turn I can play a Forest for the turn after being Cavern to produce colorless mana. And so yeah, in my deck I have a basic Forest and a basic Waste. There's Mr. Frog. So time to try to win a race against it, and Temple was the best draw because now I can double spell. Actually triple spell because these will produce mana off each other. So the first Fleshraker is in. They're thinking long and hard about this. They might just daze it because they can. Because as I talked about earlier, this floating mana doesn't actually pay for daze. And so yeah, now I'm just kind of going to go ham with these creatures, and because the Eldrazi drone or spawn tokens are producing mana, I'm able to just empty my hand completely here. And then this one is going to deal 6 damage and pump my creatures. Very cool. Now, everything is summoning sick. You wouldn't know that because I just triple spelled. But yeah, I can't attack. And now let's see. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana. Again, I have Ugin's 7 and tap ability to search for a colorless creature card. Requires 7 generic mana, and it's not like an Eldrazi spell or anything. It's just a spell. The Psychic Frog has a 1/2. Now, if I block everything on it, or like all Fleshraker, Spawn, they'd have to bounce my It That Heralds, and they would only have 3 cards left, which means that this would have 4 power. And so they would eat both my Fleshrakers. So if I were to block with everything, I would feel really bad about that happening. However, I don't want them to draw extra cards. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to double block with the spawns because I have a lot of mana. I'm not quite about to catch to search with the Eye of Ugin. So in order to kill both spawn tokens, they would have to discard 3 cards right now, and I'm okay with that. But to survive this attack now, they have to discard at least 1 card. And so again, I'm okay with that. Like, discarding a card to trade for a spawn is fine by me. And now if they have Brazen Borrower, they have to bounce the It That Heralds in order to have their frogs. Okay, so they're dismembering, which is the same sort of thing I was talking about with the Brazen Borrower. It was going to be a crazy combat trick, but now they do not need to pump the frog here because the spawns were 0/1. But I'm okay with everything that transpired. I don't know if my opponent should have played that land. I think that they might not be able to afford to spend extra cards in hand. They might need to just pump the frog. Wow, what an incredible draw. So I can wait a turn to do this so that I can bounce the frog back to hand. Or I could do it now and it will deal my opponent 6 damage. And then I attack for 4 and I just win. So yeah, let's do that. Cavern, Eldrazi. I almost missed lethal because I was trying to extract value. How embarrassing would that have been? Okay, so I'm going to do this. No kick. Wait, yeah, no kicker. So colorless or Eldrazi and colorless Eldrazi spells. So each of these spawn that get created are going to deal 2 damage. And then the Wastegate Battle Mage entering is going to deal 2 damage. And then I'm going to attack for 4 and win. Lethal. God, these cards are so good. And I'm proud to say that we have defeated the Scourge of Legacy, the blue-black Scaminator deck in the Marketplace of Ideas. We got the match 2-1. I'll see you all for round 3. Hello, we are back for round 3. We're against 2+2 is 5, who is a, for better or worse, well-known Scaminator player. We're on the draw. I'm going to keep this hand. Obviously, slightly afraid of, like, Null Drifter shenanigans of getting discarded, but I could Wastegate it back to hand, so maybe that even wouldn't be too bad. Regardless, yeah, keeping this hand. It's got Fleshraker Command. We keep these. Command, of course, is also good at answering a turn 1, like, Entomb into a turn 2 Reanimate, so another thing for me to be aware of. Ooh, my opponent is playing the fancy Snowlands that I spent way too much money on also. These things are relatively expensive on Magic Online, like relative to what other lands cost. Like I think these islands are like 8 tickets each or something. But you know, we do what we can for expressing personality on Magic Online. Okay, yeah, I'm going to lead a Mox Diamond. If it resolves, I'll ditch the Courtyard, and then I'll play Temple Fleshraker. And hopefully this resolves. And then we can kind of go off with commands next turn. I hope that is our option here. Opponent's brainstorming. Maybe they're looking for a wasteland? Not entirely sure. They have maybe 1 to 2 Brazen Borrowers main. Let me look at their most recent list and see what they've got. 2 plus 2 is 5 MTGO. So unfortunately, like Magic Online deck lists have been out of commission for the last week and a half. So all data is slightly out of date, but their most recent list from 6/16 had let's see. It's like this. Obviously their list has changed in the last 2 weeks, so I shouldn't make too much of a think about it, but they did have 2 Brazen Borrowers back then. So yeah, they wasted the temple, which is painful for us. So one thing to note is that Mox Diamond can create colorless mana by just casting it and getting the trigger off of Fleshraker. I don't think I want to do that just yet. I think I'll do that once I have like 1 more mana source available. Because then I can, you know, cast stuff like Kozilek's Command. I'm a little bit nervous about tossing this Null Drifter into my graveyard with Evoke, because I don't necessarily want my opponent to reanimate it, unless, of course, like I was talking about, I want to, I'm planning to Wastegate Battle Mage it back to my hand. So if I have an abundance of mana, then I might do that whole play. Right now I'm quite constrained on mana, but like an Ancient Tomb off the top and I'm off to the races, or another Eldrazi Temple. Opponent's Brainstorm is still resolving. They finished. Okay, fetching. Or no, not fetching. So maybe they're going to Entomb on the end step or something like that. Okay. Another Wastegate Battle Mage does not. Maybe it does just change the math on this because I'll have more stuff in play. They might like force this or daze it or something. They probably won't, but they might. Just trying to get the clock on my opponent going, and I have 2 Wastegate Battle Mages now. And as far as my sources of mana go, because these Scions keep replacing themselves with every color spell I cast, it's only really consuming my Mox Diamond here. Let's see if this gets untapped. Land Underground Sea for Entomb. It did not. It's got Intercity Sewers for Surveil, which is a lot more modest. They kept it on top. It's not great for me. They might be dazing this spell. I guess not, because they would do it before that trigger resolved. But yeah, I'm just trying to turn up the heat on my opponent now. Maybe I do this whole thing again. Just get more damage in play. I can't. Because I don't have another mana source. I know how these things work. In my head, I floated this for free because I wasn't going to otherwise utilize my Mox Diamond at all this turn. And so, for some reason, I thought the second Wastegate Battle Mage was also free, but that's not how that works. If I have Ugin in play, that would be the case, but we don't have one. Uh-oh. So, if they get Atraxa here, which they did, they're likely going to animate dead it. So now at this point, if I draw a soul land, I would be able to use the cast trigger on this to bounce Atraxa back to hand. But that also depends on them not taking this Grief, which I don't know why they wouldn't take. They might, unless they take the Brazen Borrower. They're very likely to take the Grief, though. And then Grief me and probably take Wayscape Battle Mage because it's the thing that can get me out of this. Which means I'd really just have to draw Caracas. But Caracas is a good way out of this. So this is notable because right here, 27 lands and 3 Mox Diamonds. This looks like a lot of lands for a deck. But look at us right now. We could really use lands. Okay, they chose Grief and didn't use it. So if we top deck a Soul End, which we did. Oh my god, okay. Well, opponent's going to be regretting everything now. Cast with Blue Kicker. Bounce Atraxa back to hand. So they took, let's check, Grief, Underground Sea, Force of Will. So, no. This is what they took. So yeah, Atraxa's back in their hand. That's a cast trigger, buddy. Yep, exactly. So back to hand. This is in. We're dealing damage. We're attacking for 4. Wayscape Battle Mage, so good. Go Soul Land. I manifested that. The opponent's at 5. Their Wasteland is... So now we win. Because even though they have Force of Will, we're going to be able to cast this Kozilek's Command, which will deal damage. And that'll put opponent to 4. Or I could Null Drifter and... Yeah, either way. Yeah, I know your hand. It's all counter magic and Atraxas. Oh, they didn't have a second black card, so that's why they didn't grief me. I think they're just showing me that. Okay, got game 1. So onto the sideboard, I want Leyline of the Void and my 4th Wayscape. I think I can cut all that heralds the ends. And the Null Drifters, again, I don't really want. Yeah, then I'll bring in 2 heralds. I kind of liked that sideboard plan. Like, I was so scared of using Null Drifter that last game or even getting it griefed, which once you have a Leyline of the Void in play, it becomes, yeah. Opponent said no black card, so I'm saying I saw, so I bounced your Atraxa. I said I saw, so I bounced your Atraxa to give you one, and said I was trying to help them out with giving them a black card to pitch to grief. Anyway, I think this is how we're going to sideboard again. I like it. Wayscape Battle Mage saved the day. Ancient Tomb saved the day, but it was a team effort. Good job, deck. You did it. So 0 for 3 in die rolls, and just playing every game on the draw. Except for the one we lost. We played that game 2 on the play. This hand is a definite keep. It's got a Caracas also for if an Atraxa enters early. Okay, we keep this. I'm going to lead on Temple. It might get wastelanded, but if that happens, at least I have follow-ups with topping out with the City of Traders. And I have 3 other colorless sources of mana. 2 sources of mana that can produce any color. So yeah, this might be Entomb Atraxa. If it is, I would be very sad. Entomb Archon. So they're playing around my Caracas. So this is going to be hard for me to beat. But it might be possible if I can dig for a bouncy boy. Wayscape Battle Mage. The opponent's now brainstorming. Maybe they don't have a reanimation spell yet. Or they're digging for the Animate Dead. I don't know. They found a land. And maybe it's just the reanimate now. If it's not, then I can Kozilek's command that Archon out of here. It is, unfortunately. There's no longer a choice I can make. I think I'm going to get rid of the Myco spawn. Because I already have the Caracas. Yeah. Now I'm just hoping to draw Wayscape Battle Mage. I drew another Myco spawn, which is really not too bad to have drawn. I'll play Cavern or Eldrazi. And then on end step, I'll probably do like I'll make a spawn token and I'll surveil one draw card. I'm really just digging to this bounce creature before I die in 2 hits. So I will bounce, or I'll get rid of my next Myco spawn. I just do not believe these cards to matter at all right now. Take a painful hit. Yeah, so I'm dead next attack if I can't bounce this. Psychic Frog. Yep. So obviously there could very well be a daze here, but not much I can do about that. Because again, like I'm trying to scry in order to dig to this specific card, so it's not worth playing around days and reducing my scry. And that said, it got Force of Willed straight up, so we'll see if I have the bouncy boy on top. I do. Woo. Okay. I didn't actually expect that. I didn't expect to get this far. Okay. We name Eldrazi. Do blue uncounterable now. Cast with blue kicker. Archon back to hand. Of course, can be discarded to Psychic Frog for massive value, but at least now it's out of play. It was about to kill us, so this is better. We're not out of the woods quite yet, but we're not dead. Okay, opponent is exiling 3 cards to give their frog flying so that I cannot block it with the Battle Mage. I wouldn't be surprised if they just discard their Archon anyway before damage, since it, just pumps their creature, and they want to do that for sure. They might throw more into it. It looks like they're not. Draw a card. So next turn, I'm going to be hitting for 7 damage right now with nothing drawn. So we'll see if I can do more than that. Of course, if they Archon me again, another Wayscape still doesn't even do it, because they can just kill me with frogs still, because I'd be at 3 life. Yeah. Oh, Ponder, okay. I thought that was an enemy dead coming, but they're looking for reanimation. They shuffle their library again. They will see if this Linebreaker is able to change the math. We're facing down lethal right now, right? With this big frog, and it has flying too, so we can't block it. So given that we can't block it, we may as well bluff our ability to damage through it, push damage, push blockers. So 3 mana, and then this would only be 3. Yeah, I mean, I'm still gonna pretend that I have a way through this, but I don't. I lose if they just like don't go for lethal, but they probably will. I'm very likely just dead here to Frog, because Frog plus 6 cards in hand represents 8 damage. I'm at 6 life. And do they discard cards to it? They do. Okay, so Swamp. You know they play that. Go for the throat. Makes sense. Grief, yeah. Psychic Frog. Yes, I know you play that. Got one in play. Okay, so now match is tied. 1-1. Do we change anything? Play draw? I don't think so. Good work, Wastegate Battle Mage. It wasn't enough to win the game, but you've been doing great work this entire match. Serious MVP behavior for a card that I didn't think was good enough. This hand is not good enough. It's only got 1 mana source. This hand has mana sources. It has creatures. Yeah, we're a fan. I think I'm going to bottom the Wasteland because I want redundant colored producing things. I'll keep this. Bottom Wasteland. And I'll play out Eldrazi Temple and then probably do like a turn 2 Fleshraker and hopefully turn 3 Linebreaker. And have those be uncounterable. Opponent's griefing me, which is really rude. My whole sequence is going to get messed up now. Yeah, obviously, you know, everyone loves grief. The WotC did not ban grief last Monday. Everyone expected them to. Apparently, according to their panel, they even, their play design legacy representative suggested to ban grief. And they're like, nah, we're not going to ban grief. We don't want to do that. We're going to not do that because we have a version of grief in our MH3 packs with Old Border, and we want to sell them to legacy players. So we're not going to do that. We're going to leave grief legal and make everyone sad. But now we attack for 4. And the beats are on. Kozilek's command being a surprise is also kind of good because maybe they might go for like a latent graveyard play that I can take advantage of. The Frog is actually kind of one such play. I think this turn I'm going to bounce it to hand. No, I'm going to uncounterable Thought-Knot Seer. That seems better. Okay, so Eldrazi again. Because uncounterable Thought-Knot Seer means that I can also now know what counter magic I have to play around with this Kozilek's command. So I'm really happy about this. Do they want to discard anything to Frog? They got to choose that now. Oh, they're just going to pitch their whole hand? Oh, the 2 cards I can pick. Okay, it makes sense. So they got a potential 5/6 here, which means that I'm going to attack with a 6/4 Thought-Knot Seer. Just the Thought-Knot Seer. And they can pitch their 2 lands in order to trade with it if they want to. They likely do not want to, yeah. This is, again, very good for me. I am dealing a ton of damage. If they attack me with Frog, they're not blocking, which means that they're, again, taking way too much damage. So they are going to leapfrog, though. The frog is leaping over my line breaker. No secret reach on this guy. Although honestly, with like the view and him at least reaching up, like this card should have reach. There's the other ones have no business having reach. But this one deserves some reach. Okay, ponder. Opponent's looking for stuff. We'll see if they wasteland me. If they wasteland me and I don't draw a land, then the wastegate battle mage play gets a little bit less good, but it honestly still might be lethal because of just the amount of damage that Linebreaker can put forward with this, since this will have be +3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, that would be lethal just with the battle mage in play, so I'll do that. They shuffled off the ponder. They're figuring out where to point this wasteland. They're pointing it at my soul land. So now at least I have lethal through counterspell. Oh, well, sorry, opponent. Can't beat the top of the deck either way. Like I had it covered just off of like regular lethal, but now I can also just kicker this frog to hand as Rebens. GG, opponent. My moto's lagging. Here we go. GG. Got the match 2-1. We're 3-0, 0-3 in die rolls, and beating Grief Scaminator twice. Feeling really good about this deck. Obviously, we've been drawing like a god, but I mean, we can keep doing that. See you all for round 4. Hello, welcome back for round 4. We're on the draw for the 4th time in a row. We're against Munchlax446, who plays Grief Scaminator. We cannot keep this triple Eye of Ugin in hand with 1 threat. We're going to mulligan. This hand looks better, I think. Honestly, a little bit risky because of the Null Drifter and Reanimate, but I guess I'm going to have to kind of like hope that doesn't happen, or that I find one of my Wastegate battle mages that have been MVP this entire night. So assuming I keep this hand, what am I throwing back? I think it's obviously a land. I think it's the... Or it might not obviously be a land. No, I guess it would be the Secluded Courtyard, and then I might be able to ramp up into Null Drifter. So if I cast Mox Diamond and it resolves, am I going to go turn 1 Eldrazi Temple Fleshraker? I don't know. I guess so. But the other thought is that if I save my Mox Diamond for a turn, I can generate mana off of that. But now that I have Linebreaker too, I think I'm more motivated to just throw threats out on curve. So I'm going to play Mox Diamond. If it resolves, I'm going to bin this city. I think. City of Traitors. But maybe it's the Cavern, because then I can just, I know I'll be able to cast like soul lands and stuff through it. Yeah, I'm going to actually discard the Cavern. Like let things get countered, because this one's already counterable. And so, like, regardless of what I did here, because I already played the Temple as my land drop, and I'm trying to play a threat on turn 1, so I may as well make all of my threats counterable and just keep my soul lands going. And I'm doing this one first because it's gonna, subsequent ones will generate more mana. And I'm gonna hope to ramp up to 7 so I can get this Null Drifter into play. Which is looking pretty good, because next turn, if I play the City of Traitors and cast the Linebreaker, I'll make a Scion, which would already put me up to 6. So any land after that gets me to 7, or any like another colorless spell would generate another one of the Scions, which would again, make things good for me. So right now we're looking okay. I have a feeling that Munchlax is going to Entomb on this end step. Lovely. Game 1, turn 1, Entomb, followed by, no, just Undercity Sewers. Love to see it. And Underground Sea in the bin. Okay. Brainstorm. So clearly not looking for lands, or they wouldn't have binned Underground Sea. They might be land heavy, is my other thought. So now they're trying to brainstorm to put away excess lands and shape their hand into something threatening. That's my prediction. But we'll see. I'm also guessing they're going to just kind of go for non-basics this whole game because they already have an Undercity Sewers in play. But it remains to be seen. Okay, there's the fetch land. This is quite possibly setting up an Entomb. Which, if they Entomb Atraxa, now I have a Caracas to answer, so that's really good for me. I guess I'll do it this way. So 1, 2, because this is Eldrazi spells, so that's more limiting. And I led on the city because I want to make the Caracas a secret. In case my opponent entombs, I want them to pick Atraxa. They might force of will me here. Because if this resolves, it's dealing 6, 7, 8 damage, putting them to 10. It's insane. So much damage. Okay, well, let's see what's happening. I guess even more damage because I forgot about the next trigger of hitting them for 1. So yeah, if this enters, they go to 16. And then I'm hitting for 8, putting them to 8. So that they wouldn't even be able to reanimate an Archon of Cruelty without losing. Could animate dead it, but not reanimate. So they're brainstorming for a force here. See if they found it. They did. Force pitching days. So we played around the days effectively. Deck. Now let's see what they do. I hope it's not an Entomb reanimate line. Okay, it might be a troll reanimate line, which I don't care nearly that much about. Okay, that's way less scary to me. Brainstorm. Okay, that's really good for me. So there's an upkeep cycle troll because they wanted to shuffle their top 2 cards, which they knew from Brainstorm. So they found the Force of Will, but they put 2 cards they really didn't want back on top, and then they upkeep troll cycle to get rid of those, and now they're brainstorming again. So my next consideration on my turn is whether or not I evoke the Snow Drifter or hardcast it. Okay, with an It That Heralds the End, I think I'm more inclined to evoke it first. Or evoke it after, because I can cast it for less mana. So I cast an It That Heralds. And what this will do is it will make Null Drifter cost less. It'll actually end up costing 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If I play out this Caracas, I can just hardcast the Null Drifter. Maybe that's worth it, but I just feel like I can get... I feel like there's a second daze in there. They don't really want to get dazed off this Null Drifter. But maybe that's worth doing. Where's my sense of adventure? I'm just going to go for the Null Drifter, and it's probably going to get dazed, but... What can one do in these trying times? I shouldn't have done this now. I should have attacked with the spawn token first. I missed out on a point of damage. But these are the mistakes that we already made. Again, this costs 6 because of It That Heralds acting as a cost reducer. Hey, so they didn't have a daze. They would have dazed there. And we found more awesome stuff for winning next turn. Attack for 3. Feeling really good about this game now. And we've got an Annihilator one. So yeah. Is this Atraxa? Because we have Caracas, so this has to be Archon. Yeah, maybe they have Animate Dead for it. Then we sack an Eldrazi spawn. And I guess discard an It That Heralds. Yeah, they just realized that that was not going to be nearly enough. Okay, so I need Wasescape. We've played this match twice now, so I know how I'm boarding. Null Drifters out to It That Heralds out. Perfect. Time to do some on the draw game 2 action. Hopefully finding a Leyline of the Void and some Wasescape Battle Mages. Submit deck. All right. On the draw for game 2, this hand is, I think, a little bit too land heavy. It's got a Battle Mage, but it's like also pretty vulnerable to Grief. It's got a Wasteland though. I don't know. I think I'm gonna keep it. I think I'm gonna lose more. It's got so many soul lands. It's got a way to bounce the big creature they put into play. So yeah, we'll try it. They have a vulnerable opening. I'll just like fire off a Wasteland. Okay. Looks like I'm getting scammed out of this one. Because Grief pitching Animate Dead implies to me that they have Reanimate. Because they wouldn't be pitching a reanimation spell if they didn't have one. So they're very likely going to double, get rid of both my creatures here. And if they do it off an Underground Sea, I will Wasteland them. If they do it off of a swamp, I won't. And then I'm going to hope to top deck good cards. I've got a lot of them in the deck, but I've also got a lot of lands. This deck is basically half mana sources, and now it also has 4 Leyline of the Voids that I will be able to draw but not cast. And so it's got more misses than hits at that point. This leads me to believe that they're pretty vulnerable on mana, like they might be getting a Surveil land here. So I'm going to lead on a Wasteland, because that means if they get the Surveil, I can just fire off a Waste. So yeah, they didn't do that. Otherwise, they would have been able to fetch Surveil land. They're still not going to move on this because they're afraid of getting Wastelanded. Nope, now they're moving on it. Island, yep. Okay. And no, okay, so now they're getting Swamp. So now Wasteland is not going to do anything. Went from being very vulnerable on mana to not at all that way. I'll play out one of my many Eldrazi temples, I believe. And the next turn I can like Cavern Battle Mage. So that's good. There might be a point that there's like a creature in play with Animate Dead on it and another creature in play. And with the double kicker, I could like exile the Animate Dead, getting rid of that, or just bounce the creature. So for this one, actually, I am going to exile the Animate Dead because I don't want to give Troll back to their hand. Having it go back to the yard is better for me. They don't get to cycle for another land. So yeah, I'll do it that way. So Cavern on Eldrazi. Then I go 1, 2, and then green. Wasescape with green kicker. 1, 2, 3. Cast, exile the Animate Dead. Troll goes back to the yard. And I've got a Wasescape Battle Mage. Next turn I'll have a Line Breaker coming in too. And if they fetch with the Scalding Tarn on the end step, I am going to, like for a Surveil, after they Surveil, I'm going to waste. Essentially, regardless of what they choose, but I don't want them to have knowledge that I'm going to do this before they finish their Surveiling. Because there's like a world where I'm trying to ramp into a 6-drop next turn. They don't know I'm not doing that. Okay, kept on top, and I'm getting rid of the land. Psychic Frog, yeah. Call me Psychic because I saw that coming. Okay, I have Ugin. Doesn't need to be played out yet, I don't think. Is there any downside to playing it out? I don't think so. So I can go red, colorless for casting the Line Breaker. I'm only going to attack with Line Breaker because it's only one discarded card to pump this Wastegate Battle Mage into something that would be eaten by the frog. I think that I'm in much better shape if I just race straight up. Obviously, more Wastegate Battle Mages would be really good because I could bounce this frog. Frogs leap, they bounce, they do all sorts of good stuff. Frog. So they're attacking and seeing if I block because they would rather pump. But I'm not going to block. They could also just exile 3 cards and give the frog flying if they don't want to even weigh whether or not they want me to block or not. Like, they have complete control of the situation. Okay, so they are giving it flying, so I can't block even if I wanted to. Which I wasn't going to do, but either way, frog is in, they're drawing a card. I am fortunately grief-proof right now, by which I mean I have no non-land cards. Okay. Creature. Not creature. Play another Eldrazi Temple. I'm going to, I think, pump the Wastegate Battle Mage so that if one of these gets killed, at least the damage is more evenly distributed. If this is a go for the throw, I don't know why they didn't like do it earlier. But now at least I have the damage better distributed across my 2 cards. Thinking maybe they have like a Brazen Borrower, but I don't think you'd want a Brazen Borrower. Like maybe Brazen Borrower the Line Breaker. Yeah, okay. So I do feel smart for throwing the damage there. And they did have to wait until combat because otherwise I would just recast. Speaking of, I am going to recast this now because I am not in the business of getting this griefed out of my hand. So looking pretty good on the damage front. This frog could come crashing in, but it might not. They have 4 cards in hand. Oh, no, it's in. I'm not blocking. Again, like I don't want them to discard 2 cards and all of a sudden be beating me on both the frog front and the damage front. This Line Breaker represents too much damage to trade against. My opponent's Oko avatar is very intense. Looking straight into the camera. Although in like a few weeks after the Legacy showcase, I'll have the fancy Days avatar. Let me see if I can pull that up on Google. It looks really cool. Yeah, here we go. So because I top 8'd the Legacy Showcase Challenge, I'm going to play in the Legacy Showcase playoff or whatever they call it. I get this braggedy icon avatar, which I will use. My current one is from doing this in 2022 with getting Urza Saga, which I think is just a cool card. Obviously, I love Urza Saga. It's very powerful, but it's a very fun card in my opinion. And so upgrading it to days will be pretty sweet. So they played a land. At the very least, they have Play Brazen Borrower as like an option of a thing they could do. That's not a good option, I think, but it's a choice they could make. I'm going to attack. Like that's my plan. I'm going to attempt to deal damage to my opponent, as much of it as possible. Opponent's thinking, which I wonder what that means. Like, do they have like a reanimate and they can reanimate troll? Or something like that? Putting them to 3, because that seems really risky. But I don't know. I don't know what they have. Alright, they're tapping lands, and I am no longer going to be in the business of casting spells until this Harbinger of the Tides is off the field. I'll play another Eldrazi Temple. And I think I'm going... So this will be attacking for 5. I think I'm going to also... So I'm going to pump the Line Breaker and then attack with both. Because I'd happily make this trade of Battle Mage for Line Breaker. Or sorry, Battle Mage for Harbinger of the Tides. Unlock my mana. But as it stands, I'm attacking for 7, which is a lot of damage. And remember, my Null Drifters are sighted out, so I can't even cast those if we got there. But they're making the trade. Taking 5, going to 4. My lands are unlocked. Again, if I could use Eldrazi mana to activate Eye of Ugin, I would have 7 mana right now, but I don't. I have 4 mana as far as Eye of Ugin is concerned. And it's all spread out because of this Harbinger of the Sea is doing kind of weird things to the land spacing. They reanimate, so they're going to 1. Are they bouncing this thing then? Or are they holding back? Oh, I see. They're holding back with the frog as well. This only deals 4 damage, so I would lose in combat. But I'd be able to kill the Harbinger of the Tides. So that becomes worth it. Thanks. So let me... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, okay. So I will... Or if they just block with frog and pitch their whole hand, I lose, but maybe they won't do that. Just gonna get worse for me the more cards they draw. So let's try. Yeah, they're pitching their hand to survive this. Oh, they traded instead of pitched. That's nice for me. I'm going to cast a Mox Diamond and exile a Secluded Courtyard because I just don't want to get this griefed. And then I'll play another Secluded Courtyard. This never gets to choose a creature type, so if and when this Harbinger of the Tides leaves the battlefield, this will only be able to tap for colorless. But I will try. We've got Myco spawns in the deck I can draw. That's really the creature I can cast. Got wastes that I could draw and then cast other stuff. Linebreaker, unfortunately, I cannot cast because I don't have access to colorless mana. If I draw a waste now, I'd be in luck. Brazen Borrower coming in, so now I am on a 4-turn clock, going to 1 at the end, so like any other threat in play reduces the clock further. I could draw wastes and win it. I could draw a Myco spawn and find the wastes and win it. So I'm on a 5-outer over the next couple turns. So let's hope. I believe. Fleshraker is not what I needed. Cannot cast that one. I need a Sowing Myco spawn or a Wastes. Got 2 more draw steps to do it. And the reason why I'm not concerned about Force of Will is because my opponent's at 1 life, which means if they force me, they lose. So Force of Will costs 1 life to cast as a pitch spell. So waste land. No, I need wastes specifically. So I'm going to play Cavern out. Again, doesn't do anything, but yeah, need wastes or what's it? Myco spawn. I've got 1 more turn to do it. 1 more draw step. Let's see. Nope. Leyline of the Void. Okay. So going into game 3. Harbinger of the Tides being in the deck, in addition to the other stuff, makes me think I probably want 2 Dismembers over these 2 that Heralds. I'm not going to make any other changes. That was rough. I had a lot of draw steps that would have gotten us out of that, or not a lot. I had 5 outs and 5 draws in which to, or 4 draws in which to see it. So on my opponent's sideboarding, I'm going to do a hyper geometric distribution. So, I will not. Stat track hyper error 503. Very tragic. I was going to show you guys how to do hyper geometric distributions to find the probability of that happening. So what I was going to do is I was going to choose a population size of about 45 cards, because at that point it was like turn 7. And then there are 45 cards which are left in deck. And then the number of successes in that sample there are 5 successes, and we would have been able to draw 4 cards off the top to look at 4 cards and see if one of these 5 successes, at least one of those, is in our top 4 cards and get the odds of that. But StatTrack.net has a 503 gateway error, so we can't do that. We just have to play game 3. So game 3 just started, but more importantly, EtherHub also does this. So population size, we're going to say it's 45. Sample size, number of cards we're drawing, so 4 cards. There are 5 successes, and we want to see at least 1. So we had about a 38.7, so like, between a third and a half chance of drawing out of that. But neither here nor there. I just wanted to know what the odds were. So this hand is quite good, I think. Maybe? Doesn't actually... I guess it casts Thought-Knot Seer with Kozilek's command, but yeah. I don't know if I want to pitch the Tomb to do that. Maybe I mulligan this hand. No, that can't be right. I'll keep. I'm now thinking about how to sequence this opener. Do I just throw away this cavern? Yeah, because I have Kozilek's command, which is counterable too. Yeah, I'll do that. So I'll play Mox Diamond, see if it gets countered. It doesn't. Goodbye, Cavern of Souls. So now I have Kozilek's command that can eat something out of the yard. Or actually, I'm going to on upkeep. I'm going to make a Scion and draw a card. I just don't want them to be able to daze this. I didn't want them to be able to force negation it either, I guess. So a wasteland is a land, so it insulates us against all sorts of BS, but yeah, I'll draw the wasteland. Oh, they messed up. Or maybe they didn't. Yeah, they did not mess up, unfortunately. Okay, so now Mecha Spawn finds Caracas. And so I think I'm going to do that instead of anything else. And I don't want to get this griefed, so I'm going to do it now. So I'm going to get Caracas and put it into play. Because if they reanimate Atraxa, I can just bounce it back to hand. If they spend a turn wastelanding me, then that's also fine. Okay. Caracas in play. Mecha Spawn in as well. And we pass. I don't feel like getting in there with the 0-1 Eldrazi. I could send a message, but I didn't want to accidentally click it and sacrifice it. That seems like a mistake. I could undo that because it's a mana ability, but still, I don't want to. Seems foolhardy. But Caracas is making moves now. So if they wasteland me, I Thought-Knot Seer. And if they don't wasteland me, then I'm in good shape. Wasteland me, I mean wasteland the Caracas off the field for me. Because that's my Atraxa prevention mechanism. Not a wasteland. They might just go for the line anyway. Like they think that every other option is so bad for them that all they have is just to reanimate Atraxa and pray. But no, okay. That's not what they're doing. So I'm going to sacrifice this Eldrazi spawn to cast the Thought-Knot Seer because I want to leave open wasteland so that they can't use this land this turn and next turn. Unless they fetch basic island. Like they can't use Underground Sea right now. And they can't fetch a surveil land either. Really turns up the heat. With this big googly eye. Okay. What are we doing? Something. Brainstorm? Just basic island brainstorm maybe? Trying to protect cards? Yeah, okay. Well, that's their prerogative. they get 2 brainstorm cards away. They might find a Force of Will for me, which I care medium amounts about. Not a huge deal. They might like force it and then reanimate it and be very disappointed to learn I have 2 dismembers. Because like they might want to be reanimating something that's not a legendary creature so that my Karakas doesn't work, but no, they let it resolve. So they have a bunch of animate deads. They have a dismember, which I don't want them to be able to use. So I'm going to get rid of dismember. And then I'm going to attack for 3. Okay, so upkeep, cycle, troll. Now I know their whole hand. Brainstorm, Prison Borrower, Animate Dead, Ponder. So I guess they have to get, if they get Underground Sea here, then I waste it. And they can Ponder. Or they get Swamp here, which they can't waste, but then they can't use it this turn. Unless they draw literal reanimate, at which point, if they literally reanimate Troll, they go to 10. I just remember kill it and then I attack them for 7. Yeah, so they're getting Underground Sea because they intend to use Ponder. I'll Wasteland on my turn, I suppose. This is actually a situation that doesn't come up much, but sometimes it's right to Wasteland in your own draw step. Because, so I have this Wasteland in play, and say I don't know, say they left this untapped. They didn't use the Ponder, but they left it untapped. I don't know if they're holding up like Fatal Push or whatever, right? And I want to do something in my first main phase, like equip an equipment prior to combat, which you can only do during your first main phase at sorcery speed. In my own draw step, I could wasteland the non-basic land that they left open, and they wouldn't have that mana in my first main phase, so they wouldn't be able to answer a creature in response to me equipping it or whatever. Okay. So I'm not going to let them protect this with the daze. So I'm going to wasteland it before I cast a spell. And then I'm going to play Secluded Courtyard. I will name Eldrazi. Go 1, 2, 3, 4. Thought-Knot Seer. This one resolves as well. What are we taking? Entomb. The only card I can possibly care about here. Attack for 7, and the next turn opponent is pretty super dead. Like even a frog here doesn't cut it. And my dead troll definitely does not cut it. Because I've got 2 dismembers and a line breaker. Holy shit. Okay, well, I guess we'll start off with dismember. 1, 2, 3. Paying ouchie amounts of damage. Ouchie amounts of life. Got it out of here. And we got lethal. So we win. We don't even need the line breaker. GG's. But I'll cast it for fun. Nope, opponent didn't want me to have fun. Opponent said, no fun for you. Goodbye. Congratulations on your 4-0. And 0 for 4 on die rolls, and 3 for 4 on playing the best deck and 1 mirror match, and being 4-0 despite that. It looks like we're going to be against Death Grips or Alberto SD next round, or I guess potentially paired down against the 3-1. Either way, I'll see you all for round 5. And likely top 8, because at 4-0, as one of the 3 remaining 4-0s, my breakers are going to be really good. So I'm almost certainly locked for top 8, even if I hypothetically lose next 2, which I don't plan to do. So yeah, we've got a good night ahead of us. I'll see you all in a minute. All right, so we're against a friend of mine from Southern California, Zane. Unfortunately, it means that I am paired down here and have to try to win out because they are on, or he is on it. I know who he is. He is on Nadu combo, and I think this hand is too slow against that. Right, so yeah, I'm gonna mulligan this hand. Dane is also mulliganing. This hand seems better. It's a bit slower. I could really use a soul land, but it's got more interaction. Or not even, but it's got some beatdowns, I suppose. Is this hand better? Yeah, I mean, I really don't know. Okay, so yeah, I told Zane what I'm on, so he's being very nice and saying that he's on the Nadu Elves deck. Okay, so do I mulligan to 5 or do I keep this 6? I think I need to mulligan for a soul land. I have better draws than this. Okay. This is maybe better. It's still bad. But okay, so if we keep, I can go. So I have 3 mana sources, right? So I can keep those 3 mana sources and I cut out. I need to keep 2 mana sources, I guess. Yeah, so I think I have to cut, like I have to bin a courtyard and the Thought-Knot and hope that the Fleshraker command is enough to get me out of this. So I think the Nadu Elves deck doesn't play Wasteland. So I'll bin Wastes and Thought-Knot Seer. Okay. We did it. So Fyndhorn Elves is in. With the soul land off the top, I could kill it. Kozilek's command. But I'd probably play the Fleshraker anyway. Cavern is a solid draw. I think I'm going to actually play it now. Yeah. Name Eldrazi. And then next turn, if I draw... So the reason I'm holding back on this Mox Diamond is if I draw a soul land, I can play the Fleshraker first and then use the Mox Diamond to generate extra mana by making a Scion. So that seems like the direction I want to do things. So the Nadu Elves deck looks something like this. Here's a paper copy. It's got a bunch of lands, 4 cradles, and then it's got a bunch of elves, obviously, accelerants, 4 Nadus, 3 natural orders, Green Sun Zenith. Firstly, Bill combos off real hard with Nadu, and you kind of just like go ham getting crazy value with creatures. Now, Quarian Ranger with Tropical Island and Fyndhorn Elves actually generates mana because what Thane can do here, if he only has the 1 land, he can float green or use the green. Now he can bounce his Tropical Island back to hand and untap Fyndhorn Elves. He's not doing that. He could still, yeah, so he's going to turn to natural order me, I suppose. Yeah. Just a turn to natural order, nothing to worry about. And Atraxa. So I guess now I have the very rough out of trying to draw the Caracas. But we'll see what he takes here. He's got Nadu in hand now. He's probably getting like Nadu and Green Sun Zenith and gonna combo me off with Bristly Bill. Let's look at Bristly Bill. Do I have any Bristly Bills? Do not have any Bristly Bills in my collection. Let's see what Bristly Bill does. Whenever a land enters battlefield under control, put +1/+1 counter on target creature. So it targets. And that's how you combo off with lands and Bristly Bill and go crazy. Okay, makes sense. So he picked Gaia's Cradle, Nadu, and Natural Order. So yeah, I'm dead next turn again. But maybe we have a way through this with a Caracas. That's not going to do it, I don't think, but I'll try. I will fight tooth and nail here. Now that said, on the fighting, I think I have to Kozilek's command this one. I think I have to Kozilek's command this turn, because otherwise this natural order is just gonna kill me. But removing the Finhorn Elves removes 2 mana from Zane. So I need to do Scry's X, draw a card, and exile a creature. So I will target myself, and I will target Finhorn Elves. I'm looking for this Caracas. Oh, that does it too. So next turn, if I draw a source of mana, then I can Wayscape and bounce the Atraxa to hand. So let's see. We know about Nadu. Okay, it's Cradle and Natural Order. We also know about the Trop that he just replayed, but Nadu is in play now. And unfortunately, means that Zane will be drawing a card when we bounce the Atraxa because Nadu will trigger. But nothing we can do about that. Untapping self and replaying the land. Yeah. Okay, a lot of damage coming in. Probably Crater Hoof in the deck. Ooh, command. Does that change anything? I think I have to go Scion, make. Ooh, no, that doesn't work. I have to do colorless, yeah. You know, colorless thing and make 1 mana source and draw, but that doesn't help me. I don't like survive that. And I'm taking lethal next turn because of this natural order pumping up everything. Do I have a way around this? Not just like surviving this turn, but actually like winning this game. I don't think I do. I will do the make Scion Surveil play though. Or scry draw card, just to see if I have it out. Probably don't, but I could draw Caracas. Mox Diamond ain't gonna do it. Temple's not terrible. Does Temple mean that I can play Fleshraker right now? I'm gonna try this. I don't think I survive this. I think I just get natural ordered for Crater Hoof, but let's see. Right, like on board right now, I only take 11 damage, and I'm at 12 life, so I survive. That said, I'm definitely totally dead here. Oh wow, the Kurian Ranger also targets with its thing. This targets. Doesn't matter. Getting hoof. The hoof man. Okay, hooves for the hoof man. We have been defeated in game 1. Okay, so definitely want dismembers. Definitely want Disruptor Flute and the Battle Mage. Let's see what's in sideboard. Force of Vigor, Leyline, Quick Reflexes. Quick Reflexes are a card that we can't really play around. They have split second. I think that I don't necessarily have time to Null Drift. And I feel like Micro Spawns are good. I feel like Thought-Knots are good. Wastegapes are good. Heralds are good. Like, I like all these cards. I don't quite know what to cut. Maybe I cut a couple Micro Spawns because they're kind of like they kill Cradles, but only after Cradles in play. Like that's how Wasteland works. They get a shot with the land first. Yeah, I guess I'll remove 3 Micro Spawns. And let's run this. Okay, on the play. Only 1 mana source because Mox Diamond would consume the land, so I got a mulligan. Got 2 mana sources and a lot of things I can do with it. I'll keep. I will bin this Fleshraker, I think. Because I think that the It That Heralds might do more work. No, Fleshraker makes a ton of mana. I'll bin the It That Heralds. The end. I will lead on Wasteland. And then hopefully, so if I don't draw a soul land, I'm going to Disruptor Flute turn 2. Likely naming Nadu, but not entirely sure. This does not shut off mana abilities, notably, so I cannot name Elvish Mystic. Nor could I name Elvis Mystic, but no. So Natural Order can find Nadu, but that was fine. Solid draw. It's a 3rd land. But, so Natural Order can find Nadu, but it costs 4. And so it wouldn't be able to come down next turn. So I'm going to go Eldrazi with this. And I'm just going to name Nadu Winged Wisdom with Disruptor Flute. Nadu Winged Wisdom. So it would have to be natural ordered for or pay 6 for. Korean Ranger is going to generate mana. If I draw a soul land, I'm gonna Thought-Knot Seer because I'm a bit afraid of natural order. Otherwise, I'm gonna play a Fleshraker. If that heralds the end, is not a soul land. So we play Fleshraker and pass. And next turn we'll be able to at least generate some scions and stuff with Fleshraker and hit that Heralds. I'm a little bit concerned about what might be happening to me soon though. Hard on top too, which is not what you like to see. If you're me. Probably what you like to see if you're Zane. Single green mana. Hedge Maze, okay. Interesting. Dismember, okay, okay. Well, Fleshraker is not long for this world anymore. Ideally I would draw any land here so that I can Thought-Knot Seer. But without that, I will just cast in at that Heralds and possibly waste. Nope, cannot waste. Because this plays around it. I should not blow my wasteland on that. Okay, another Surveil is going on here. Surveilled on top. We hate to see it. And Battle Mage, okay, well, I'm going to play in it that heralds the end. And I'm going to leave up the wasteland because hypothetically, you know, if he uses Query Ranger's ability, this is a use only once each turn. So then the next, the subsequent lands in play after this ability are used are wastable if I wanted to go that route. Now that said, I probably don't want to waste because I'm desperately trying to Thought-Knot Seer my opponent, but I can try. Falling apart here. I need lands. I need Eldrazi Temple. Or I have Ugin. I have Ugin would be fantastic here. Cradle, yuck. Okay, Query Ranger is a 5/5. In hot. Okay. I will wait until my turn to wasteland this. There's no reason to do it now. Same info now than it was before. Ooh, fantastic courtyard. So I could play. I could take, like, if I don't get rid of the cradle, I'm facing down Allosaurus Shepherd Beats, I think. Could otherwise bounce Elvish Mystic. And then the cradle would be weaker, but I think I'd rather just play it. But the reason I don't want to necessarily play it is because I do want to Thought-Knot Seer. I just don't think I can quite yet because I don't have enough blockers for these big attacking creatures. Yeah, do I have to bounce Mystic? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 1, 2, 3, 4 mana? Four is natural order mana, but I guess I'd have another Waterscape Battle Mage, yeah. I think the line is to not wasteland, as weird as that seems. Bounce the Mystic. And now also I'm going to try to race because I might be able to engineer a situation where I actually do win the race by bouncing creatures with Wastecape, Battle Mage, and crashing in. Especially if I draw another mana source, then like another land, then I can Wasteland the Cradle, and then I can go way, way ahead on tempo. Yeah, at least this turn, I think that I'm looking at Zane having 4 mana, which is not 6 to activate Shepherd. All right, Zane is playing another Shepherd. The sheeps are hurting, and there's the Elfish Mystic that we saw. Oh no, another Cradle. 6 mana. Ooh, yeah, activated. So at this point, he's coming in means 10 damage, which then means that I guess I can't block this. I just have to hope that I'm able to waste Cradle. And yeah, if I waste Cradle, then I have 3 blockers for 4 attacking 1/1s. I can stabilize that way. And that's fantastic. Okay, so I'll play this. So I have more information on what to do now. So, or no, I guess I bounce Mystic. I know what to do. I bounce Mystic and waste Cradle. That's the most mana restricting option I've got. This Thought-Knot Seer is that another Cradle in play wins. I mean, a Thought-Knot Seer, either way, another Cradle wins, I guess. So yeah, I'll do the Wastecape Bounce Mystic play. I think this is right. Feels weird, but I think it's right. Let me bounce Elvish Mystic. Is not a forest, notably. If I attack with the Battle Mage, Zane attacks to 1, and yeah, Zane attacks me to 1, and I don't think then any 1 damage getting through kills me instantly. So I still don't know if I can attack. Let me think about it. 3 attackers. I guess I block 2 creatures and eat them, and that would be really good for me. So yeah, I think maybe, yeah, I can attack with the Battle Mage, but then I lose to Dismember off the top. Can I beat a Dismember if I don't attack? Yeah, I guess. But is Zane being at 9 meaningfully different than being at 12? I don't think Zane being at 9 is meaningfully different than Zane being at 12. I think that he dismembers me and attacks with all 3 creatures. I block 1. Or block, yeah, it would block 1 if I attack, and then I would die. So yeah, no attacks. I'm just scared of Dismember here after seeing it. There's also probably Legolas's Quick Reflexes as another thing that could beat me. If I did that. No, I guess they're only one ones. So that wouldn't beat me the same way. Okay, Hedge Maze. Dryad Arbor in the yard. Mystic in play. So now I will play a Thought-Knot Seer. Probably. Line Breaker. Wow. Okay. Do I play Line Breaker? That changed my math. No, I think I play Thought-Knot Seer first. I want to not lose. Once Upon a Time is the last card in hand with 2 lands. So I think I attack with the Wayscape Battle Mage. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana available right now. And I guess if Shepherd activates, I'm not like quad blocking and losing everything. That seems really silly. So I will do Wayscape in. Okay, the next turn I can hopefully Line Breaker for lethal. If I counted this right. Bristly Bill. Okay, that will not change the math on my ability to win, I believe. Although it does do some serious damage. Or like, makes things big, I should say. So next turn, this will get +5. So this will be 8 power, or 9 power, I guess, because it would be a 4/4. So that's good for me. Because this means this has to be blocked with like at least a power on it. Okay. Dismember. Well, I don't have the life for that. Line Breaker. So on Dane's next turn, he'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana. So all of these creatures will be 5/5s attacking for lethal. Means I have to seriously threaten lethal if I want to get out of this. And so I think that means attacking with literally everyone, because of all the damage this puts forward. Yeah, so this has to get blocked by at least 1 power, which means that these 2, 3, 4 also all have to get blocked. So I think if I attack with everyone, and Bristly Bill survives. So let's say he attacks Bristly Bill here, 1/1, 1/1, 1/1, 1/1. I die on the backswing. Is that right? So because he takes 8 from this, and then in. That kills me, right? Yeah. So I think I have to attack like this. Yeah. If I had a little bit more life to work with, then this Dismember would change all that. But as it stands, that's the only play I can make. Yeah, I didn't want to leave myself dead to combat there, where Bristly Bill eats it that heralds, then survives at 1, and then cracks back for lethal. Zane is thinking about blocks. I'll be back when his blocks are lined up. All right, his blocks are lined up. So yeah, I'll deal 1 to Shepherd and pump through for 8. Put him to 1. And I will block the hell out of this Bristly Bill, which does not trample to my knowledge. The big boy. Bristly, it's a 4/4. No. Oh my goodness, is this a natural order? Oh my god. That's such, wow. That's great content. Yeah, I was trying not to bring this into the universe, but yeah, unfortunately, I cannot survive this because Hoof hits for exactly lethal because, or no, 1 pass lethal because it's a, actually 2 pass lethal. It attacks as a 6/6. I guess I could have left an extra creature back to play around this, but I don't know if that got me around this because then I lose to like various other overrun effects. All right, so yeah, Zane wins this. I don't know why he's trying to offer me the win, but he's an incredibly nice human being who won this match and deserves to win. So we are 4-1 now. And I'll see you all for round 6. Boom. GG's. Hello, we're against T1 Initiative for round 6. They are 4-1 as well. Win the die roll, we're gonna keep. Let's see here now. This hand does some serious line breaking. I like it. I'm gonna keep it. I think I'm gonna put away the Cavernous Souls because I'm already casting the line breaker into potential wasteland stuff. Yeah. We'll keep this. We'll lead Mox Diamond and then pitch Cavern. No, I'll pitch Wasteland. I don't know, this is hard. I feel like with such an aggressive opener, I might really want the Wasteland, just like to constrain opponent's mana. And so that's what I'm going to do. So no more Cavern. And we're going to enter tapped and attacking. Yeah. Now we're just turning up the heat on our opponent. Mox Opal. Uh-oh. Storm is being generated. Echo. Turn 1 initiative has taken the initiative with Echo Storm. Well, glad I used my Mox Diamond now. Okay, so what do I do here? Echo Spawn is a good draw. It lets me I want to get rid of this Urza Saga for sure. And it also lets me tutor up a Ayavugan, which I can then use to like get the Eldrazi what's it called? Wastecape Battle Mage. So yeah, let's play Mox Diamond first. The other option is Kozilek's Command for 4. But that just seems not quite as good because this deals more damage because I can use the Sowing Mycospawn's haste as well. So I'm going to bin Caracas. play another Ancient Tomb. So this goes green, green doesn't matter. And I cast this with Kicker. So I get a land, but I'm also just going to exile this Saga straight up. And we get Eye of Ugin. So that I can tutor up. Good stuff. Now, Psycho Spawn is going to get +2/+0 in haste. Reality Smasher can't do this, can it? And now I also have opponent on dead next turn. So we'll see. Yeah. Opponent was not able to get there. Okay, so now we have Mindbreak Traps. We have Disruptor Flutes. We have Wastegate Battle Mage. Let's see, what don't we want? Null Drifter seems a little bit too modest. Too slow, basically. Commands honestly don't do that much against them. Like other than just like burnout with Plushraker, but I think that needs things to line up a little bit better than they otherwise would. I think I'm also going to cut a Caracas because I just don't need that many lands. I'm on the draw too. Maybe in case they pivot into Shieldred, I'll keep the Caracas and I'll cut the Forest. No, Forest is important for Micro Spawn colored mana. I'll cut the Wastes. Okay, we have sideboarded. This hand has no early play and no Mindbreak Trap. It's a mulligan. This hand, so opponent's going to 5. This hand has turn 1 Disruptor Flute, which could name Beseech the Mirror or Echo Vians. And I have Flesh Rakers too. Yeah, I'm going to keep this. And I guess I get rid of a Flesh Raker. Yeah. Because I potentially might skip over Flesh Raker altogether where I go turn 1 Disruptor Flute into turn 2 Thought-Knot Seer. Vault of Whispers. Okay, so Metalcraft is on. I'm going to name Beseech the Mirror with this Disruptor Flute. Now with Eldrazi Temple, I can use the Mox Diamond for that. Yeah, so I'll play Mox Diamond. I'm going to get rid of Cavernous Souls, but I just don't want to take extra damage for no reason with this Tomb. Does that mean I want to pitch Tomb? I don't need it. I have 4 mana next turn anyway. Yeah? No, I only need like 1 colored source of mana at a time. This is tough. I think I'm going to get rid of... the Cavern. No. I'm going to pitch the Tomb. And then, in case it's like a artifact destruction spell, I'm going to basically wait until the combo begins. Oh, okay, if it's Echo of Eons in the yard, I'm going to upkeep Disruptor Flute Echo of Eons. And again, upkeep so that mana cannot be used efficiently. Yeah. So I name Echo now and it costs 6. Very good. Okay, Saga is in play. Oh, Chain of Vapor. Yep, I mean, it is there, and he's going to be able to echo. Anything I can do about that? Anything I want to bounce back to hand? I don't think so. He can just recast the zeros, so not sacrificing, just losing my flute. No flute for me. This echo is happening. Yeah, I drew a thorn, so if I untap, I'm in good shape. On top of this hand, I should say. Yeah, it looks like I am. So I can go Fleshraker. I can go land Thorn and get an Eldrazi spawn token. The next turn, I'm going to go crazy with these line breakers. Just do so much damage. Yeah. Opponent's playing out mana just to grow the size of their construct token. Drew another Disruptor Flute, which actually can disrupt Urza's Saga quite effectively. Because it means you'd have to make one thing now and wouldn't be able to make any more. Yeah. That costs 3. Change if I want to do this. So I think I have enough mana to do everything I want to do. Because I'm going to be making constructs. Or making blockers, I should say. 1, 2, 3. Disruptor Flute? Or no, I know what to do. 1, 2, 3, Eldrazi Linebreaker. And then I make a Summoning Sick Eldrazi spawn. And then I'm going to use this Summoning Sick Eldrazi spawn and this to play a Disruptor Flute, which will force the Saga to activate. I will still name it as a Saga because it will be hard to activate on the flip side of this. Or it won't be able to activate, not allowed. So Urza Saga is named. And now I have, so I could do 3 mana to play another Linebreaker and pump them both. Or I could play an It That Heralds. I think I'm going to play the Linebreaker. I'm a Linebreaker. I'm a Fleshraker. I'm an It That Heralds the End. It's late and I'm coming up with terrible Eldrazi themed country songs. That should be illegal to do. Okay, now they both get haste. Seven threes, holy shit. So he has to block one of these because otherwise he takes 14, which is lethal. And so this is a free attack. Insane amounts of damage. Wow. Deck is so good. Okay, well, we'll see if he can combo from here. Won't be easy with this Thorn of Amethyst in play, but if anyone can do it, it's someone who has turn 1 initiative. It looks like he has a line. He's going for it. Maybe it's just like chaining Beseeches and using Lion's Eye Diamond to float mana. Could work. 7 mana. Beseech into whatchamacallit. Oh, we're just doing a Hail Mary. Oh no, that's just for storm count. Okay. Looks like they found a line. Yes, well. Yeah, look at that. Incredible. This is impressive. Because now Beseech for Tendrils is lethal. So yeah, I'm just really impressed here. Beseech for Tendrils, and wow, would have killed from 22. Could actually, Petals passed themselves as well, so could have killed from 26. Okay, so on to game 3. Gotta commend opponent where they deserve. All right, thinking about this sideboard. I think I just run it as is. Leyline is good against Echo, is the only thought. And against Beseech chain lines, maybe I do play them. And I cut Myco Spawn. Or I'll keep Myco Spawn and cut it that Heralds, or 2-2 split. I'll do a 2-2 split of Myco Spawns and if that Heralds the end. Okay. On the play, Mindbreak Trap, Leyline, Linebreaker, we keep. Leyline the Void. I'll do Mox Diamond pitching an Ancient Tomb, and then play the other Ancient Tomb. And play a Linebreaker, tapped and attacking. Yeah. Okay. So we do have a Mindbreak Trap too, which is cool, because if our opponent goes for like a full combo here, we can actually disrupt it. You can't go for Echo. That's rude, but I'm going to let it happen because it takes life total. I still think, even though like this is open info, I'm not going to play around anything. So I'm just going to play the temple because it's like better for me to have him play. Kind of rough. Lost my Mindbreak Trap. All right, let's see what's happening to me here. I feel like it can't be good. Okay, Chain of Vapor. So do I stack a land to bounce anything? No, because that just builds Storm Count. Even the Chrome Mox, like, just builds Storm Count on recast, so no interest in doing that. Probably Echo now. All right. Hey, we found a Mindbreak Trap. That's really good for us. Extremely lucky. Building Storm. Okay, so now I Mindbreak Trap the whole pile of... I mean, I'll Mindbreak Trap the Beseech. I don't feel like risking it. I mean, well, whatever he gets can be Mindbreak trapped. So yeah. There's the Tendrils, and the Mindbreak Trap is coming. Mindbreak Trap the entire board. All right, well, I wish my opponent good luck and hope they can squeak in. For me, however, I am 5-1, so I'll see you in the top 8. All right, very exciting. We are in the top 8. We're first seed, which is super cool. We're going to be against 2+2 is 5, who plays Blue-Black's Reanimator, so we'll play that matchup again. Yeah, feeling great about the deck. Let's do some top 8. Oh, and got Zane in the top 8, and our last opponent, who I hoped could break her in, is in fact breakered in at the top 4 too. So good job to T1 Initiative. Very happy about that. Yeah, cool. I'll see you all in a minute for the quarterfinals. Okay, we're back for the quarterfinals. We won the die roll. Be on the play. So yeah, we're against what I presume is Scaminator. I like that I have a Caracas. I like that I have a Cavern. So I'm going to keep this hand. It's a little bit slow, but I think it's worth keeping. Especially off the back of this Caracas. So Atraxa can't happen to us. A soul land like an Eldrazi Temple would really spice things up. I have Ugin would also go crazy. But I'll open on Wasteland. One thing to note is that Cavern is our colored source of mana, so I need to be aware of that. Hey, Ancient Tomb. I think I'm going to play a Fleshraker here. I could also just play it that heralds the end, but I think playing the Fleshraker is better because then I can follow up with a Thought-Knot next turn and just have a ton of pressure on the board. And then obviously not revealing Caracas. Okay, it ate a Force of Will, so that's gonna do what you're gonna do. Sometimes your card gets forced. We'll see if Atraxa is getting entombed right now. Nope, it's a Surveil land. Animate Dead in the yard. Means either an abundance of reanimation spells or light on lands. Maybe light on lands. But a Caverned Thought-Knot Seer next turn seems like it's probably going to be the way to go, because then I can get a good assessment of what my opponent's hand looks like and the best ways to disrupt it. Are they going to wasteland me? Okay, well, if they're wastelanding me, I guess I will wasteland back. I've got way more lands than they do. Now I'm going to play Caracas because I'm a little bit too afraid to run out my cavern and get it like double wasted. I think that the brainstorm into wasteland means that they don't have additional lands. I was wrong. Ox Diamond. Cavern's better. So I cannot do this uncounterably because I need this for colorless. So It That Heralds the End is coming in as a counterable spell. Brainstorm potentially for days. Yeah, now I could really use Eldrazi Temple. I think that would be my best draw. Ancient Tomb, City of Traders are also good. Hey, It That Heralds the End is in. Like that. Okay. 2 mana. Frog. Frog. Ribbity, ribbity, ribbit. Can discard 3 cards to become a 4/5. Eldrazi Temple. That was the best draw. And I will use it. Thought-Knot Seer. I hardly know her. What are we taking? 2 reanimates in a daze. Well, I guess I take one of the reanimates. And I'm not going to attack with this because Frog could eat it. So I know about a reanimate and a daze. Reanimate could take Fleshraker. Probably doesn't want to, but could. Next turn, my hope is that I can take the other reanimate out of hand. Oh boy. Okay, well, at least I have Caracas for Atraxa. Unless it gets wastelanded. It's quite a draw for my opponent. Okay, they found the wasteland. Shit. Well, that's a problem. This is really bad for me all of a sudden. I could draw a Waste Escape Battle Mage to get this Atraxa back into my opponent's hand where it belongs. Yeah, this is about as bad as it can get for me. Wow, what a draw. Chose Force of Will, Wasteland, Frog, Reanimate, Animate Dead. So Reanimate. Okay, the Wasteland has been used, unfortunately, on my Caracas. Ponder, no Brainstorm, and Frog was chosen. So this is the hand. Reanimates. One reanimate? Yeah, one reanimate. Daze, Force, Animate Dead, Frog. So now a land off the top is really what I can hope for. Linebreaker is not bad. Not counterable. And I will pump the... So this becomes a 7 power attacker. Is that right? So I guess I attack with Thought-Knot Seer instead. Because it's an 8 power attacker, which means that Frog cannot block and eat it. If Atraxa gets Animate Deaded, then so be it. I have to fight through this. Like, I have no way through this other than through it, you know? So I've got to fight. Yeah, gonna battle here. It's sad that we lost Caracas. Knew that was the risk running it out, but we had to. Mana was tight. They just drew Atraxa naturally, which is rough. I mean, a one-off deserves a one-off. Like, that's how these things work. Reanimate Atraxa. It is done. So starting with Daze on this flip. So from here, we'll see what they keep. No Wasteland, which is nice. No, Entomb is scary for me because Entomb means that it can get Arcana Cruelty, which might just be lights out. So they kept Grief, Pluto Delta, Entomb, Animate Dead. And they're Animate Deading my Thought-Knot Seer. Rude. So Grief, Pluto Delta, Entomb, Animate Dead. They used Animate, so no days. They used Animate Dead. They did keep Entomb. And then there's the Grief. They could Grief me now and take that heralds the end. And they probably will. So my best draw at this point would be Waste Escape Battle Mage so that I can exile the Animate Dead, which will cause my Thought-Knot Seer to die, which will then draw me an extra card. And then another one of those, I guess, so that I can bounce the Atraxa. I think that's my best out here. Not that it's good. Reanimate, no, Flooded Strand has been 3 cards have been exiled to give the frog flying. Okay. Well, the frog is flying, jumping over my Eldrazi. So we're not blocking it. Now Grief comes down and exiles frog. That heralds the end, has heralded its last end. And Wastegate Battle Mage. Not Wastegate Battle Mage. And I think I just cast Mox Diamond because life total might be an issue next turn. Okay, it gets forced. I'm fine with that. Play the land. Not attacking. No reason to attack a 6/4 into a 7/7, especially if the 7/7 has lifelink. So now I just hold back and try to survive. Now that said, opponent does have something looking very close to lethal if they just pitch a bunch of cards to the Froggo. Crown of Cruelty, Animate Dead. That is cruel, opponent. Is cruel. Yeah, I'm dead. But yeah, I'm just gonna concede here. Like, even bouncing the creature does not save me. Okay, so Battle Mage in, Leylines in. So I'll cut the Null Drifters to it that heralds the end. And hope that that's enough. I was winning when I was losing the die roll. Maybe that was the trick. I had to lose the die roll. But no, I got games 2 and 3. We can do this. Okay, on the play for game 2, we will play first. Got a Leyline, got Soul Lands. We love it. Keep. Feeling sleepy. It's late, so I am just playing a little bit carefully with my mouse on things like keep or mulligan buttons. I don't want to foolishly lose the game because I clicked the wrong button. Opponent's mulliganing. They clicked the mulligan button, probably intentional. The game effect has been performed. Cavern of Souls has been played. And then we'll try to turn to a line breaker. Flooded Strand, pass, okay. Line breaker is going to come down. Break the line. Red, 2 colorless. And tapped and attacking, please. Thank you. We have entered, tapped, and attacking. So opponent is doing something here with their 1 mana. Brainstorm? Troll Cycle. So just getting lands under them. Not for long. These Myco Spawn are going to Wasteland aggressively. Opponent played a land and is now passing. Drew a Leyline of the Void, not exactly what I want, but I think the rest of my hand should be sufficient to win anyway. Do we get a wasteland? I will waste now. I guess technically I'd let them daze the Myco spawn doing this. Didn't matter. So now the Myco spawn gets haste. We attack for way too much damage. 8. And now we're threatening lethal multiple times over next turn. So even with this Brazen Bar, we're bouncing the ley line right on curve. It's not going to be enough, I don't think. Yeah, opponent agrees. Okay. Game 3, I think we hold the line. We do it again. On the draw for game 3. This hand... What does this hand do? I mean, it does some good stuff between the graveyard interaction, the Flesh Raker, and commands. I think I keep it. I'm a little nervous about this hand, but I think it's enough. Okay. So what's going on, opponent? Nothing. Oh my god, thank god. So what are they going to do? Wasteland my tomb? Right. Yeah. I'm not paying 2 life to cycle a Kozilek's command. I think that's more valuable to me as a Kozilek's command. Eldrazi Temple was another very nice draw. I think I'm going to play it before I play my Cavern. Oh no. So... Okay, that's not good for me. That's a problem, as they say in the biz. Now they're deciding on Archon versus Atraxa. I just want to draw a Escape Battle Mage. Archon, okay, so given that, do I fire off one of these to try to find a Escape Battle Mage now? And they can't daze it? No, because I am going to, if I'm going to be doing that, then I'm going to be playing more important dazeable spells anyway. Please don't do the thing. Okay, Animate Dead. I'll cycle a Kozilek's command now to get an extra. So unfortunately, I not interact with this. I don't have an extra mana, so I'm drawing a card. Taking 0, Eldrazi spawn, and drawing a card. They might daze this or something, thinking that, yeah, oh, they're forcing it, okay. Well, that's the best outcome for me, I guess. I'll discard What's the least critical card here? I guess Thought-Knot Seer in a way, because Linebreaker is gonna like race this thing. Okay. So I'm gonna play a city here, and I'm gonna do a scry 2 and make 2 creatures. This exiles target creature with mana value, so I can't get rid of the animate dead. Yeah. Targeting self. And I'm not playing the Flesh Raker because it would just die to the Archon of Cruelty attack trigger. But now with some extra Scions in play, I have those to sacrifice. Yeah, these are not the bounce spell I need. That is the bounce spell I need. Okay. So now we hope and pray. So I will discard a Wasteland if I need to discard a card. So I lose this and I discard a Wasteland. That or the Linebreaker. I think it's the Wasteland. Okay, so now I have mana. Regardless of what happens to me, I'll have 4 mana. I'll be able to bounce the Battle Mage. It's better for me to bounce the Archon back to hand than it is to exile the Animate Dead and put it back in the graveyard for it to get reanimated again. So we're going to spend the mana to put this in hand. Ponder. Unfortunately, it means I will have to lose this city. Which means I'm going to be really low on mana. Oh boy. Yeah, I mean, I have one option as far as plays go, so I'm going to do it. Eldrazi. Say goodbye, city. And blue. Cast with kicker. Put that Archon back in hand. Now I have to hope to draw like more Eldrazi temples. And then just like play these cards out. And try to win. That's my hope. That's what I'll try to do. Eldrazi temple. No. No, not Eldrazi temple. Oh, I'm attacking. Okay, I need to draw lands. Prison Bar? Shoot. Now I'm on a 3-turn clock. That's way too fast. Oh no. Well, I don't think I beat that either. Unless there's no animate dead coming. Or reanimate, I suppose. Cycle Troll, okay. I guess they're looking for the reanimation spell now? Yeah. So if I draw an Eldrazi Temple, I'm just going to go Linebreaker. I think that's the fastest win. Okay, well, that's not going to cut it, I don't think, because I'm going to 3 life next turn on the attack. So I will lose. Tragically. Must be because I won the die roll. Anyway, this has been a fun run. Played against Scaminator 4 times. Won 3 of them. Won the ones we were on the draw, lost the one we're on the play. Obviously, that's just an anomaly. I think more important than any of like those statistics is how the match is played out. And I feel like this deck had outs from pretty insane positions. Like the Battle Mage is just an all-star. Like most decks don't beat reanimated creature like Atraxa or Archon. Like that's why they played those cards. Because they're supposed to just win on the spot. And they basically did, but you know. Opponent chose Brainstorm, Reanimate, Wasteland, Psychic Frog as their choices for here, so we lose one of our caverns on Eldrazi. And we lose the match as soon as the Psychic Frog is deployed, which they did. Eldrazi Temple for the Revens. Wasteland. We have been defeated, but I am proud of this top 8 run. I hope you really enjoyed the Eldrazi video. Let's look at how top 8 fell before we conclude here. So my buddy Zane ended up winning. Very nice, onto the top 4. I wish him luck. Other than that, we got, let's see, Go Initiative ended up losing in the top 8. That's all right. Top 8 performance is solid. Cool. That was a blast. Let's look at the deck. So yeah, 30 mana sources. Amazing suite of aggressive creatures. I might honestly, like as far as changes go, put the 4th Wayscape Battle Mage into the main deck. This card just overperformed a ton. Null Drifter, I don't necessarily think I need 3 copies. I could just cut 1 from the list. And then I open up like a 4th sideboard slot for something anti-graveyard. I don't know. What's a good don't lose these things card? Well, I'll think about it. But anyway, this is kind of what I'm thinking moving forward. It's just put this 4th Battle Mage in the main deck. Maybe it's just like a 4th Dismember. I don't own 4 Dismembers. That's funny. Okay, well, anyway, this was a blast, flinging some spaghetti at my opponents and doing quite well for it. So, hope you all enjoyed the video, and I will see you next Monday. Bye-bye.